Go.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Returning Youth Radio Show, the Dr. Surajit Khanna Returning Youth Radio Show. We're on every Friday from 3 or 4 o'clock. Join us, call your friends, tell them to join us. We are on WPAT 9:30 a.m., which goes out to about 30 million homes. If you're not in the area there, you can listen on the internet at WPAT930am.com. But if you want to see our beautiful faces, join us on Facebook at facebook.com/Khanna, Khanna, the number 4 kids, Khanna for kids, facebook.com, Khanna for kids. Dr. Khanna is an attorney, a child safety advocate. He's a servant of the underserved and a champion of the nonprofit Voice of the Kids. He also launched the Post-Incarceration Juvenile Justice Reformation Act initiative. Woo, that's a lot of words, isn't it? So we call it in short, returningyouth.com. Just remember that, returningyouth.com, because we are turning young Americans back to a productive life after incarceration. How do we do that? Very simple. We are providing them housing, training, required medical and psychological assistance needed to secure a job, to build their careers and improve their lives. We have an exciting show today. We're waiting for people to join, but that's okay. On the line with us already. I guess Eddie dropped off. We have Abiodun Oyewole, who is one. Did I get that right?
No, you didn't. That's all right.
Oh my! I thought it rhymed.
No, you said oh yeah, oh you said something weird. It's Abiodun Oyewole.
Oyewole, Abiodun Oyewole. My humble apologies. My apologies.
You know what? It's not a problem. We were never taught a West African dialect. We learned English.
Oh wow! What country are you from?
My ancestors are from Nigeria.
Oh, okay, that's great. Yeah, Clem Yabo is joining. He's from Ghana. So both of you from Africa, and Willie's African American. We're excited.
We all are from Africa. Everybody's.
I'm Sicilian. I'm Sicilian, so I call myself light skinned. You know.
Well, if you're Sicilian or you're British or you're French, you still come from Africa. Africa is the mother of the entire human race, and we need to understand that. That's something that it's not taught in school, because it would really upset I suppose it would upset their status on some level. But Africa is a place where the entire world comes from, and Africa is the mother. So there's a lot to be said, but I don't want to take up time talking about that. We've got other things to talk about.
Well, we're going to give you your time. Don't worry about that. We appreciate it. We have Dr. Surajit Khanna. He just joined. Clem is about to join. But Dr. Khanna, you are going to give a short background. Then I'm going to launch the new video we just produced. But before we do that, I just wanted to give Dr. Khanna a chance to give us a background. And if you can mute yourselves a little bit so that we can hear him, I'd appreciate it, because I'm hearing some background noise. Dr. Khanna, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, Mr. Abiodun. How are you?
Fine. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much for joining us. It is an honor for have you here. It has been an honor. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having me participate. I hope that we say something that's going to be helpful to those people who are listening.
Absolutely. And thank you, Brother Willie, for joining us. You look great. I'm still missing your pink shirt.
And please say hello to my good friend Perry Gaffney. She's off camera. She pulled this together
okay,
with
sure.
Abiodun.
Hi, Miss Perry. Here you go. Thank you.
You're muted. Perry, you're muted.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm with Dune in his space, so we might be turning the computer around.
No problem. Thank you very much for joining in. Thank you. It's been, like I said to Mr. Abiodun, it's an honor to have both of you today in the show. And definitely the audience will be thrilled to hear both of your voice live. You know, they have been hearing you in the in the recording, but now they'll be hearing you voice, live. That's great. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I just want to say Perry is an actress. She has been on a number of TV shows. I don't remember all the ones, Perry. You also wrote a number of plays, a one-woman play, and you're still doing that. And we are trying to get you some other jobs. We're working with Willie and James Romack. So Perry, thank you so much. You've also done the voiceovers for 3 of our videos. You are a professional. So thank you, Perry, for that. So Dr.
most
Khanna, I just
welcome.
want to turn. Thank you. Dr. Khanna, you were going to say a few things, and then we're going to play that video. Go ahead, Dr. Khanna.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon, my dear audience. I know I've been on the radio for a long time, and thank you for CFC, and thank you for Brother Willie to give us a dedicated time every Friday, 3 to 4, especially dedicated for these young adults, those who are coming out of incarceration, because this program is for them to be dedicated, motivated, inspired, whatever words you can say, so that they can boost themselves from the past. They need to forget about the past. Their past should not be their identity to moving forward. They need another chance in their life to transform themselves. So this show every Friday is a platform for everybody listening to this. I was told that we have more than 30 to 40 million people listening to this every Friday. So whoever is listening on the radio, WPAT, 9:40 a.m., please convey this message, take this message to every single family, those who have somebody coming out of incarceration and they feel lost. They feel no hope in their life. No, please reach out to us. This movement, somebody told that this is a movement, this initiative, that is the Post-Incarceration Juvenile Justice Reformation Act initiative. In short, we call as returning youth. That means the youth, those who are coming out of post-incarceration, we're giving them a platform where they can create jobs. How to create jobs? By getting themselves educated enough, giving them the skills, the life skills, so that they can perform better in the life. They can be a good citizen. They could be a good father. They can be a good brother. They could be a good son. Overall, they could be a good human, because that's what we need. We want to produce, this initiative at the end should produce fine gentlemen. Fine, mark my word, fine gentlemen. And the only way we can do that is by giving love. So most of the time we said job creation. Actually, you know what? This initiative is a machine to create love. It's a love creation. We are going to give love which they are deprived of. And that's why when I see individuals, talented individuals like Mr. Abiodun, Willie, Miss Perry, Sharon Drake is just joining, Miss Sharon, Claim, Gary, these are all not ordinary people. They're very talented people in the community. And we need to give them a chance so that they can associate with this young adults, those are coming out of incarceration. And once they come out, once they have this association with these talented people, they will definitely see a light at the end of the tunnel. This is the whole purpose of this initiative. And this initiative is going to go more and more, because every day we are hearing different type of news. Like yesterday I was told, I read the news a little bit, but yesterday I was told by one of our team member, Mike Esman, that New York Times published an article yesterday, how this people, those who are coming out of incarceration, they're ending up in halfway home, they're ending up in getting some type of jobs. Well, that's all short-term solution. In our initiative, in this program, what we are doing here is a holistic approach, complete holistic approach. And this holistic approach is embedded with love, nothing but love. Just like how we saw in 2020 that the pandemic took over, coronavirus, COVID-19, that name of that virus, took over the whole universe. And now we are talking with vaccines to get out of this coronavirus. And then we are fighting for another strain of the virus. Similarly, we are going to, through this initiative, we are going to have the love virus. So it will be called Love 21. That's the new name of the virus, called Love 21. We're going to give this virus so that this virus can take over the entire world, especially to the people, those who are deprived of love. We are making vaccines. Clem is in the process of making the vaccine. Willie is in the process of making the vaccine. And I'm going to have people like Mr. Abiodun, Miss Perry, and Miss Sharon to inject this vaccine called Love 19 vaccine to all these young adults, because they need to come out of their mentally incarcerated position. They need to think that they are normal people, they can get normal job, they can lead a normal life. Their back stuff, what they have done wrong before, that should not come and take them as a tag item. No. Yesterday, Clem very clearly mentioned that, my dear young adults, those who are coming off incarceration, don't bring the past with you. Don't let that past identify your future. We got to leave that. And that's the process which this initiative is doing. I'm very, very thankful to my team. And sorry, I'm being very, very selfish here. I'm telling it is my team, because my team are very handpicked team, because these team members, they know exactly how to cater these young adults. We have been bombarded with different type of young adults, those who are coming. We already have 3. Today we had one wonderful gentleman on the Sunrise program this morning. Means it's just unbelievable. We are attracting many people. So we need.
He was great. He was great. Yeah.
We need everybody to support this initiative. This is not a political campaign. This is a campaign for giving an opportunity to post-incarcerated young adults, especially underserved young adults, those who are losing hope. This initiative is giving that. This campaign is for supporting this initiative. Please support this initiative with whatever way you can. I know recently we launched, and Gary is going to bring that up in a due course of time, that we launched Million People, $1 million. Million people. If we go to 1 million people, if we reach out to 1 million people, and if each of them give $1, you know what? This we are going to save at least 200 to 300,000 post-incarcerated young African American people, because $1 is going to take, and 1 million people is not a big deal. Right now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 people on the show right now. And I'm sure at least 100,000 people are listening to this show. Forget about 30 million, 40 million people. At least 100,000 people are listening to these shows, to this radio. Each of them give $1. That's itself is $100,000. 1 million people giving $1. That's not a big deal. Please contribute $1. Please contribute your goodwill. Please spread this word to everybody. That's all I had to say. And thank you very much for listening to this. and I'm going to give it. We have a very important guest today, and I would like to spend most of the time with the guest because he is the person who is going to, as I said, he's going to inject the vaccine called Love 21 to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Khanna. We really appreciate that, and we're going to introduce Abiodun shortly. You're on mute.
Gary, your volume is low.
Can you hear me? Is that better? Can you hear me? Can everybody
No.
else hear?
No,
We can hear you.
we can hear you, but you are low.
Am I low? Abiodun, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you. I can hear you fine.
You hear me fine? How about you, Willie? Can you hear me fine?
Huh?
Willie, can you hear me?
Your volume is a little low, though. I don't know whether the audience can hear you or not.
Well, Abiodun says he can hear me fine. So,
I can hear you fine. It's clear.
all right, maybe it's your computer, Dr. Khanna.
I
Okay.
can hear.
Let me go for it. Hey, Clem, before we show the video, I just wanted to introduce Clem as chairman of Voice of the Kids. Why don't you give a little hello, and then we're going to go, and also Willie, say hi. Both of you say hi. I don't want to ignore you, and then we're going to go to the video. Then the rest of the show, we're going to deal with Abiodun. Say hi, Willie.
Well, it's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to try and do something good in the community. And I thank God for the team that's got their hearts in it. And thank you again for having me today on the program.
Thank you for making this possible. And Clem,
I just simply say hi, and then at some point I'll be able to delve into the story of us and our history and why that can help us remake our young people into something that we all should admire. Thank you.
absolutely. It's Black History Month. I am now going to show the video of the show, and we just launched it. So just give me a second. It's basically an introduction to the Returning Youth campaign, what we've been doing, what we've accomplished, and some things we hope to do. So here you go. It's 6 minutes long. Isn't it about time we stop the revolving door of arrest and rearrest in underserved communities? Young adults, once arrested, are rearrested 55% of the time in just 12 months. The current system does not help them get out of a life of crime once released. Once a young person is arrested, the opportunities such as finding work, finding housing are almost non-existent. This creates a loss of hope and frequently leads to depression. Due to setbacks, they find themselves mentally incarcerated. In other words, being free from physical jail, but being mentally imprisoned. Many are forced back into a life of crime, and unfortunately, some even commit suicide. The Juvenile Justice Reformation Act concentrated on reducing crime before incarceration and for protection of inmates while incarcerated, but provided little direction for post-incarcerated young adults. Dr. Khanna saw this and felt the lack of support for post-incarcerated young adults. Therefore, he launched his ReturningYouth.com initiative to provide them with proper housing, medical and psychological assistance, short-term job training, career counseling, and peer support to improve their lives. Dr. Khanna tailored this initiative with a loving, holistic approach because he believes the missing link in their lives is this love and support. This is what Dr. Khanna has to say about this initiative.
This initiative provides young adults with a pathway to be reintegrated into society, pursuing a new and productive life after being released from incarceration. My wish is to change society's perspective on young adults so they recognize their value and flourish in their own communities.
We have launched this initiative in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and are finalizing the housing there. We have established a relationship with the Director of Police, the Chief of Police, and the Deputy Director of the Housing Authority. In addition, we have received authorization from njstart.gov and the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation, DVR, as an authorized employment service vendor. We have also successfully implemented a returningyouth.com house in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, in Monroe County. We have a home there with 3 post-incarcerated young men. Denzel.
Anyone out there that's struggling to find themselves, I recommend that you find someone that's this program, because I feel as if it can help you just like it helped me.
Julio.
This is a very good opportunity. It's a big opportunity, actually. I'm looking forward to this.
David.
Well, I like everything about this program. God teaching me to stay out of trouble and stay focused on my career.
Along with a house manager, a case manager, and relationship manager. These young men are committed to transforming their lives to becoming productive citizens by enrolling themselves in this initiative. This initiative has established partnerships with several companies assisting us to create jobs for these individuals. Most recent partnership includes Windsor CDL Driving School in Linden, New Jersey. Here is Abiodun Oyewole.
I'm Abiodun Oyewole, and I am supporting Dr. Khanna's Returning Youth organization. And I think it is very important, it's very vital that young men who have been incarcerated have an opportunity to reshape their lives.
Here is Donna Hilton.
I served 27 years in New York State's maximum security prison for women. Programs like Dr. Khanna's Returning Youth is extremely important, especially for young adults.
Here is Benny Tillman.
When I heard about Dr. Khanna's program, I was very encouraged to think that America is blessed to have this program, Returning Youth. This is going to be something very beneficial for society. So I would highly encourage everyone to please join in with us. This is a wonderful opportunity.
Ariana Ramsey is a young African-American woman from the inner city of Philadelphia, Ivy League student, a Team USA women's rugby team member, and in training for the 2021 Tokyo Olympics.
And here goes Ramsey. Ramsey, the college student, takes a pass from Alona Mar, and Alona Mar sets her up for a try. Ariana Ramsey dots down again. She's having quite a weekend.
I know some young adults who actually came out of incarceration. This is what this initiative is about. It's about giving back. As an Olympian, that's what I need to be doing.
In putting together the core team, we selected highly qualified individuals from diverse ethnic and professional backgrounds who have a desire to give back to society. Myself, Clem Yaboa, Micah Zemian, Willie Sanders, Jesse Levine, Michael Islam, John Marks, Prahet Soni MD, and Eric Braven MD are all joining Dr. Surajit Khanna. His team is dedicated to bringing a change to society by transforming post-incarcerated young adults to be great citizens by helping them recognize their own value as they re-enter society. Dr. Khanna and his team are dedicated to uplifting these young adults to their full potential and changing society's perception towards post-incarcerated individuals on the whole. In addition, we are also in the process of launching Harlem, New York, Brooklyn, New York, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Baltimore, Maryland, Delaware, Montana, and Seattle, Washington.
I'm proud to be part of this initiative. My message to the young people coming out of incarceration is that do not let your period of incarceration define who you are.
We're transforming young post-incarcerated adults to productive lives for themselves, their families, and their community. Please go to returningyouth.com or call 302-746-2311. Let's make a difference for the future of this country. Thank you.
And we're back. Well, what'd you think of that video? Any comments? Oh, we have Edward Sargent joining us. Hello, Edward.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Thank you for joining, Edward. I think I will also have Sharon on. Thank you. But Edward, I want to introduce you to, because you asked specifically about him. Abiodun, this is Edward Sargent. He had specific interest in being introduced to you. Edward.
How you doing, Edward?
All right, this is a dream come true, man. This is a dream come true, sir.
Yeah, what do you mean?
I grew up under your influence. I'm one of your, I guess, proteges. I'm one of your followers. I'm one of your disciples.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. I always tell people it's very beautiful to receive all kind of accolades for what I've done, but it only worked because you decided to listen. I would be screaming in the wind if you did not take your 2 ears to hear what my one big mouth had to say. So you listening, I consider that an honor as well. Thank you very much for taking time out to listen to what I had to say.
Well, thank you. I was in my father's house. I'm a product of what they call a split up family. Some people call it a broken family. It's still a family, but I sought out my father. I was one of those young men, like a lot of men. I wanted to find out who my father was. I was going to find my father and make him share with me his reality, his sense of manhood, for better or for worse. I was in his house. I remember my brother was with me. I'll make his story real short.
Okay, it's okay.
My father was a bachelor now. Okay, he was a bachelor, right? And he had left the house, and he left my brother and I in the house by ourselves. And so, we started going through, what's daddy, listen, what's this? Last poets, what is this? Put that on the turntable.
I know.
That my whole world opened up. I now realize that a black man, a man, anyone can take the mic and really tell the truth from their own reality, even though it may challenge everybody, the words you use, I don't know whether we can use those words on the radio. But they spoke to the truth, and it was amazing. And I know you've heard this many times. It was just amazing because I wanted to be a writer, you see. I was a poet, you see. Yeah. And so to see these men that I could relate to, it was just it was a transformative experience. And I'm letting you know, there's no word that I can give you right now. And thank you, Gary, for how I feel about just being able to look upon you. Your voice is already in my head for life.
Hey, Edward, could you? Edward, could you?
Thank you so much.
Edward, could you give him some? Could you please give him some brief background so he knows who you are?
I told
Edward. Oh no. Okay.
That's all I have to say. I'm your disciple, bro.
All right.
Here I am. I grew up in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
I grew up in Washington, D.C. I'm the product of a mother and a father who were from Memphis, Tennessee.
All right.
And they came here to Washington, D.C. for a better life than my father could have in the South. He wanted to come up north where he could feel like he was being treated more so like a man.
Okay.
Come out of the Army. I was born in Manhattan, Kansas, by the way. And by the way, happy birthday to you, sir. I know you have a birthday at February 25th, they told me.
Right.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. And so what happened was my father came up and worked for the post office. My mother eventually worked in the mayor's office. She worked for the first mayor of Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Father became a CPA. He basically ran the financial department of the D.C. public schools. And later on, he started his own business. And so then I came up, went to high school. I went out to Missouri, got my journalism degree. I came back here. By the way, my first jobs were at the Washington Informer newspaper and the St. Louis American newspaper. As you know, they're very well-established African-American newspapers. So I came up under the influence of smart, strong, independent-minded, accomplished, visionary, spiritual Black men.
Okay.
So I know the importance of rehabilitation. I know the importance personally of being able to give men in particular that sense of connection with what can be.
Right.
To come up, I had a friend who was an ex-offender. I used to be an ex-offender. I know returning citizens is another term, but either way, you have men and women who are coming back into society and they're looking for something. I had a friend who was an ex-offender. He had a term of up from never. And I get a sense of what that means because we have a lot of our young people who feel that they're in never land. There's nothing to hold on to. There's nothing real. Everything is short. Nothing's promised. Even the next day, you might be dead. These are the kind of thoughts and feelings that our young people, we've allowed so many of our young people to grow up and feel, and it's wrong.
Right.
It's deadly wrong. And so I know that. So I went out to school and got a journalism degree. I came back to Washington, D.C. I was a reporter for the Washington Post for about 7 years. I had an interest in working with Black men. So the mayor, you may have heard my mayor, Mayor Marion Barry. You may have known that name. He kept saying, well, Eddie, come work with me. He grew up with my father and my mother in Memphis. Come on, work with me. I said, what do you mean work with you? Man, I work at the Washington Post newspaper. What are you talking about? Over the course of 2 years, he kept putting that out there. Eddie, you need to come work with us. We need to come. Then I finally, after I realized that in a major newspaper, especially when I was coming up, okay, there was only so much the media wanted to print from the heart and soul of the Black community, okay? I'll just say this, I loved my time there. I love the Post, but the reality is, like all across America, I don't know if you saw President Biden the other day, it was a clip that he was talking to Black leaders. Did anybody see that?
No, I didn't see it. What did he say?
Let me sum it up for you. I'll send a link. It was amazing. It was like a reality TV show. It was like, did he really do that? So you had Al Sharpton. I think he had a professor from one institution. He had about 6 or 7, just like we see now on the internet, on Zoom, a team, okay? And so Biden, one of the Black men says, well, you know, the Black people down South, they're not satisfied. They're just not satisfied yet, you know. And Biden says, what do you mean not satisfied? You know what I did for these people? I said, I'm a white boy. I'm the only white boy who's called somebody a racist. I was on the platform I called the president of the racists. I put people in. I'm like, really? Really? Are you serious? So here we are, still in America, still degraded. On election night, excuse me, I'm not a politician. On the election night, this man says, the president of the United States, Biden, he says, Black people, you got my back, I got your back.
That's right.
And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Oh, wait, here's an opportunity. Let us explain to him what you must do to live up to those words. You don't just say that to us.
Right.
Thank you for saying it. Now here's, what are you talking about for real? And then the next thing I know, what are you talking about? I'm the only one. He's lecturing Black leaders like their children. I say all that to say, I reject it. I reject any moment when anybody puts down anyone.
Right.
Personally speaking, I take it personally. In other words, when our people hurt, and this is what I get from the last sports, when our people are hurting, we must reject it. We must speak out against it. We must not internalize it. That's my point. So what I am is simply a human being. Some people say, well, I'm a human being having a spiritual experience. Okay, I'll accept that. And I know how to recognize great people, and I'm in the presence of great people. Gary has, I won't say he's dragged me into this, but he's led me into a situation through Sharon Drake, okay?
Thank you, Sharon.
I'm here to support anything you're doing. I'm here to support whatever you're doing. Writing, editing, public relations, advocating, whatever I can do to help you all with your vision.
Thank you.
Just came in, I was on an emergency call early. I apologize for being late. But I caught the tail end of that video, and I'm like, yes, this is real.
How do you do?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ed. This is Dr. Khanna here. You know what? When you came and said, I told the same word to Mr. Abiodun that I'm honored that he's here, and you kind of put that icing on the cake by saying that I'm a disciple. I am here. This is the platform where I would like everybody, those who are listening today, that this initiative is not for Ed or Mr. Abiodun or for me or for Gary. It is for everyone. Those are coming out of jail, especially the African American young adults, because they don't think that they have a life after the jail. They don't think, because everybody's rejecting them.
That's right.
So the whole purpose of this show is to educate the society. Please look at these young adults in a different angle. Don't think that we are here to just give them. No, those kids are not there for handout. They are not there for welfare. They need to be uplifted. They need to be given all the recognition to be uplifted so that they can be equal. So when you told me right now that what Biden said, President Biden said, okay, that's what it matters. Because this is what, if a white person can become the president of a Black association, okay, that means what? There is no discrimination. It's not about the color. We are human. We all are human beings.
Okay.
So the whole purpose of this initiative, and thank you very much, Ed, for showing your support. Thank you, Sharon, for bringing Ed here. And this is I just can't have enough to say. And Mr. Abiodun is a jewel here. Claim, I want you to jump in.
Let me just add that the initiative is not about giving handouts. Okay, I want to be very clear about it. We are not giving handouts. What the initiative is about is to creating a force of young people who have the mental faculties that can propel them to higher levels. So that we need to prepare them, show them how to wash their hands again. Show them how to wash their hands again so that they can come and sit at the table with their elders and eat from the same bowl.
Okay, I get that.
Okay,
I get that.
that's what we're doing, showing them how to wash their hands again so that they can come sit at the table and share a plate with the elders.
Thank you very much, Claim, for wanting that. But I just want like the audience to hear more from this legend here, Mr. Abiodun, because we need to take advantage of the time here.
Yes.
So I have a quick question, if I may ask Gary to Mr. Abiodun.
Yes. I've been listening, and I've been listening to everything what Dr. Khanna has said, what Brother Edward Sargent has said, and of course, Dr. Khanna, you mentioned the fact that you want this to be like a love virus. All that's very idealistic, and it sounds lovely. We've heard these lovely words before. This is very, very interesting that we're doing this on the 5th day of February, which is supposed to be Black History Month.
Yes.
It's very significant that we have this conversation in this month. We always crack and say it's the shortest month in the year. Right. And for you to talk about all the accomplishments that Black people have made in 28 days is absolutely silly. It's ridiculous. There would be no history. There would be no world history if there were no Black history, period. Let's start out like that. And let's understand one thing. We're talking about some disenfranchised young people. We're talking about a whole group of people who were brought over here against their will. Their names were taken away. Their culture was taken away. Their customs, everything that they knew that was human was taken from them. And they were listed, and they still are listed in the American Constitution as 3/5 of a human being. There is nothing in school that has changed that. We have a lot of our young people who go to school and they don't feel like they belong because, first of all, the school does not know how to teach children from African cultures. And these kids don't even recognize that they're from an African culture. They don't relate. They don't have the connection. We're not taught that. Everybody thinks that African-American history starts with slavery, and that's a lie. If we could just get the kids to recognize that they were somebody before they were put on those slave ships, we would see a different attitude. Many of our young folks don't feel connected to anything of worth. They don't feel connected to anything of value. They don't feel connected to anything, so they're just out there in limbo, and they're doing whatever they can to survive. We've got a whole black caucus in Washington, D.C. I don't know what the hell they're doing, because we've been talking about reparations forever. Reparations is a whole lot more, and it's not a handout, brother. Reparations is about repairing damaged goods, and we have been damaged goods, and we need reparations because we need to repair ourselves, and that has to start with yourself, and it also has to be a part of the system. The system has been designed to keep us in a very, very unstable state, and to send us directly to jail. Prison is profitable. Prison is on the stock market. It's no mistake that 75 to 80% of those incarcerated are Black, because what do you have when you have an incarcerated person? You've got the return of slavery, and that's all they wanted. We were not brought here to be independent and to stand on our own 2 feet. We were brought to America to serve America, to always wear your apron and your top hat and serve. Serve me, boy, and don't stop serving me. Serve me on the football field. Serve me on the basketball court. Serve me on the baseball field. Serve me when you're singing. Serve me when you're telling jokes. Serve me in the kitchen. Serve me and be happy serving me. That's what this is all about. We're talking about rehabilitation. That's a big lie. There is no such thing as rehabilitation. If you are rehabilitating somebody, they've had to have a life in the beginning. We did not have a life in the beginning. And if you really are serious about changing people's fates and stopping people from going back and forth inside that hell of a place they call prison, then set up programs in every single prison where you can learn how to be a carpenter, learn how to be a plumber, learn how to be an electrician, learn how to do something, and don't leave out the arts. We've got kids, we got young people in there who discover that they have skills as a painter or as a drawer, or some even discover that they even have skills as a poet. So there's so much that could be done right here at home. When you talk about that virus, that love virus, that is something that has to happen for every human being. Yes, I agree. There is only one race on the planet, and it's the human race. And we hide behind these tags and labels. I'm Black, you're white, I'm gay, I'm straight. I don't give a damn what you are. You're a human being, and that counts for everything. Nothing else matters. If you're not human, I can't talk to you. Go someplace else, talk to the rocks and the trees. I'm talking to human beings. I travel around the world. I do that with one thought in mind. I know I'm going to meet some angels, and I've met angels everywhere I've been. And who are angels? People who give a damn about other people. People who care. They don't know my name. They don't know what I ate for breakfast. They don't know if I've been to prison or not. All they know is that they're seeing somebody who needs some assistance, and they're willing to give me their assistance. We have a whole world that's available to us, and we're being cheated out of it because people are putting us in boxes, and then we're going to prison. And the prison, like it's been mentioned here already on this particular show, the prison that's the biggest one of all is in your mind, because I've been incarcerated, and I can tell you, I spent very few days inside of that prison. My mind was way outside. That place of incarceration was just a simple place for my body to chill so my mind could fly. And I used that time very wisely. But that's because I had some values before I went in there. You've got a lot of young men and young women. Now, I've worked at Spofford for about 19 years. I was there when the Central Park 5 came in there. I've worked with these young people. I've got them to do poetry and do a newsletter. I just stopped recently, about a year ago, working at Rikers Island with the young women. I work with the adolescent women. It's disproportionately out of order that so many people of color are locked up. That's not a mistake. That was deliberate. So when we're talking about changing things and setting up a new world for our children to be appreciated, and so they can appreciate themselves, we've got to look at why and how did they get to be in the place to start out with.
Thank you. Thank you, Abiodun. What I'd like to do, Dr. Khanna asked me if I could play one of your videos, if you don't mind, just to let them know a little bit about you in the background. There's a video we have of you on YouTube.
Okay.
If I can.
Before you do that, thank you very much, Mr. Abiodun. Whatever you said, you just spoke from the heart of mine. That's the reason why, being an attorney, came up with this. I'm also, when I came to this country first, I was also treated very differently because of my color. Okay, so this is not about color. So I can feel it. And you just came right on the point, saying that you got to be human. Okay, if you are not a human, you don't belong here. That's all which matters, and that's all we need to say. So when I brought up this love virus, the reason I wanted to do this, I wanted to share this and promote this, because everybody is treating these people, whether it is white or or black or brown or purple, they don't give love. They give hate, because they're all selfish. They want for themselves. What is for me? I'm going to the show. What is there for me? I'm going to give this to this prison. What is that for me? You just brought it up. This prison ministry is in stock market. Okay, it is a profitable ministry. Profit based on who? Based on all these people, those who are suffering, those who made mistake. People, those who made mistake in the early days, their brain even did not develop properly. They made a mistake. Okay, fine. They made a mistake. Okay, so this Juvenile Reformation Act was written in 1974. What are they doing since 1974? Nothing.
And let's make it clear as to what a mistake is. We call it a mistake. There are some billionaires who did the same thing, and matter of fact, triple times worse, and they're successful and they're praised. So these kids were trying to survive. They're trying to put some money in their pockets or food on the table for somebody. There are a number of reasons why some young Black boy might commit a crime. Now, I will give no quarter, I will give no special attention to anybody who decides to use their body violently to try to rape someone. As far as I'm concerned, that's a hideous crime. You cannot account for that behavior. But when you're stealing money in a society where they've made God money, I don't know if that's a crime, because stealing money goes on all the time. And and people have learned how to do it in ways that make them look like heroes. So I'm serious, and we know that.
Absolutely.
And
yeah,
so
we all know.
And kids are they're selling some drugs on the street because they can make some money, some fast money, without standing behind a counter and bagging up groceries and getting tips from the customers.
Well, let me jump into this. The reason they're doing the drugs, the reason they're stealing the money, because they are not been given the opportunity to stand behind this counter.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely. That's right. And that's why we need to recognize that they're using a lot of language, a lot of words to set up a false narrative. There is no rehabilitation. The system is looking forward to putting, this is why I love LeBron James, for example. Just bring it down Front Street. LeBron James is a great basketball player.
Fantastic.
And they consider him to be, right, if he's not on the same level with Michael Jordan, he's right there in that same category.
Oh, yeah.
Except that Michael Jordan is about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan would not be a part of trying to save the youth of Wilmington, North Carolina, or for Brooklyn, where he was born. But here is LeBron. He comes from Akron, Ohio. He makes a lot of money. He's a big-time basketball star. He has a foundation. If you have a C average, which is just an average in school, and you have been accepted to a college, but you can't afford to go because your parents maybe they don't have a job, or their jobs are just barely taking care of everything. They can't afford to pay tuition. But if you're part of his foundation, LeBron will pay the tuition so you can go to college. Then he took it a step further. We've got a bunch of young people, because of their behavioral situations and because of their actions in previous moments, they've been put into categories of children at risk. If you see children at risk, they're saying they're one step away from going to prison. They might as well have their name on a cell someplace because they're expected to go to prison. LeBron says, no, we're going to detour that. So he builds a school for at-risk youth and it's a state-of-the-art school. He puts millions of dollars into the school so that these so-called children at risk will have an opportunity to get education and to change the course of their lives. But then to take it a step further, he comes to realize when these kids leave this school, which I've spent a lot of money on trying to create to make everything look lovely, they got to go home to dilapidated living. And he realized they can't be good students if when they go home, their life is in shambles. They can't study. They don't have a place to study. How can they be good students? So now he's building housing for their parents. That's how we change things.
That's why we want to change things. Abiodun, we got about 6 minutes left. I love the passion. We're on your side. We'd love for you to advise us on an ongoing basis. You have a platform, and we want to give you even a bigger platform. So we'd love that. I'd like to play this video. Before I play it, for Clem and Willie and you and Edward, yesterday, don't comment because I'm going to play the video first, but yesterday a report came out in New Jersey that a Black person is 21 times more likely to be arrested than a white person. So I mean, it's mathematically impossible, like they say. So there is some systematic things that we're going to work on, but if we can stop people from getting rearrested, that's the one thing that's the first thing we're working on right now. Now I'm going to show this video of you, Abiodun. It's one of your music videos. Just show a couple of minutes because we don't have that much time.
Okay. Brought her in chains, living in pain. Today is the same, and nothing ever changes. Hung by a noose, can't tell the truth, filled with abuse, and everywhere there's danger. How long can this go on? When will the light I see? I know I must be strong to last through my journey, yeah, to last through my journey, yeah. Time will arrive when we must decide to get off the ride and stop going through these changes. We must prepare and learn how to care, for soon we'll be there where our lives won't be in danger. And when the light is clear, oh, how beautiful I will be to know that I've been here and made it through my journey, yeah, and made.
I'm sorry I had to cut it off. We got like 4 minutes left. That was fantastic. You got quite a voice there, Abiodun. We appreciate
not
it.
only the voice, this is a great message for the young adults to listen, that the whole purpose of this playing here is not.
Gary, Dr. Khanna, is it possible he can tell us how we can get a copy of that song he's just done, or a copy of that?
You know what? I wish I could tell you how to get a copy. I don't know how to get copies. I mean, all I know is that
it is in YouTube. People can go to YouTube and listen to them. It's in YouTube.
I did the video, and a young man in Senegal, his name is Wanted. I know his mother didn't name him Wanted, but that's the tag he goes under. He's a great videographer, and he did the video, and I think he did a great job. It was the first time I ever worked with a drone, because he used a drone in this whole video.
Right.
And it's part, like Brother Surajit mentioned, that this is what he's been listening to from me all of his life. So this is a part of my makeup. This is who I am. I'm always concerned about the humanity of us all, especially my people, because I know for a fact that if you come from a people that have been treated like my people have been treated, and you don't speak out, there's something wrong with you. So I have got to speak about what's going on with my folks. And I also always want to interject some kind of hope and look at the brighter side if possible. Because as they say, if it doesn't kill you, it'll make you stronger.
We're going to have to try and do this again. Gary, maybe we can do something on Tuesday, broadcast also. But I enjoyed you, my brother. I enjoyed you, young man. I enjoyed the whole group. And I thank God that we're all on a mission forward to help our community and our young Black brothers in the community. So I just thank God
And
for.
Abiodun, I am getting a question here in the text. Let me just ask you if you don't mind. And we'd love for you to be a spokesperson for Dr. Khanna's initiative. I mean, you have the passion. You have, I mean, you can direct us, you can help us, but you can help this initiative. Maybe we're the ones that can really change it rather than just give the voice, the platitudes.
Well, whichever way I can
Dr.
be of
Khanna?
value, I'm willing to do that because I feel in my heart, first of all, Perry is one of my bestest friends from all the friends I've ever had.
Where is she? Let's see her. Let's see her.
I would like to have a word from Perry to the audience. Perry, could you enlighten the audience with your beautiful voice to the young adults so that they can really think that it is not the end of the world to be incarcerated. When you come out, there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
I had a question actually from the video that you created. It just assumed right off that the people coming out of prison were guilty to go in, and that's not true. Khalif Browder spent 3 years in Rikers, 2 years in solitary confinement. He did nothing. Doom brought up the Central Park 5. There were 8 of them originally. There were 8. 3 of them got off, and the 5 hadn't done anything. That's right. And there's just so many. So I think
Gary, let it continue.
Huh?
No, I'm saying Gary, let it continue.
So I think that the teaching, which is beautiful, the suggestion that in the prisons that the inmates learn carpentry or electricians talents or whatever, is wonderful. But the people who are locking these people up need to be educated because they're the ones locking them up. Right. And like Gary pointed out, 21 to 1 is the ratio for the arrest. You know they did not do it. Sandra Bland, for what? A traffic stop that was bogus and she was dead the next day?
Whoa.
No. And that's just one. That's just one name. Monroe Isidore in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, was 107 years old and legally blind. And they sent a SWAT team to take him out. What was he doing? The little 9-year-old girl in Rochester, 9 police threw her to the ground. Yep.
Yes.
Handcuffed her, threw her into the back of their car, and then pepper sprayed her. That's right. No, it goes way beyond the recidivism of people that may have done something wrong and go returning. Because there's just too many that have done nothing wrong and they come out and they're supposed to put their lives together. And it's the police that need to be retrained and resensitized.
Well, we had, Perry, we actually had a conversation. There's 2 things that we have been told from someone we've seen. 2 things police are doing that are basically systematic. Number 1, we heard there was a lieutenant of the police department. He asked a simple question: is there racism? Absolutely. He was African-American. So what could be changed? He said, well, let me tell you really simple. This is really simple. Number 1, policemen got a quota. So where do they go to get their quota? That's a problem. Number 1, you know where they go, Perry. Number 2, if there's a crime, if there's a crime in, let's say Harlem, for argument's sake, it doesn't matter, on 125th Street, what is the response? The response is, we got to make more arrests. That's right. Instead of let's protect it, let's figure out, the solution is we need more arrests. But you're right. We got to be able to, we're going to be working on in the future, before they get arrested. But right now we're concentrating on post incarceration, but we are going to eventually branch off into that.
Like to also hear from some of the people that you actually helped. You had that in the video, I think there were 3, but actually hear them talk about how when they came out, how you approached them to be a part of your initiative and how it has helped them. And if they're still in training or if they already have their job, because I haven't been incarcerated. I don't know how many of you have been, but we're the lucky ones, and we're talking in third person. I'd like to hear first person. somebody who actually is a benefactor from your initiative.
Right.
And not just one, however many you've helped. I think they should have videos. And if they're busy in school now or busy working, maybe if they can be videotaped, you know, prior to the program, and then you can show that as a videotape, that would be really, really good.
Well, the good thing is,
we're working on that right now.
well, let me say this. The good thing is, you are catching us at the very beginning of this movement. There are no, very clearly, this is the beginning. So the people who came in at the beginning, they are really at the very, very beginning of everything. And we are going to follow them. We're going to work with them. We're going to showcase them and anybody else that we bring along. This is the journey. And we are glad to have you on board with us because you have excellent ideas. We can use all of these. You have that maternal protective instinct. And I will key in on that. I will key in on that. And I will be hounding you for more things for us to do.
Okay.
Put my name down somewhere.
Absolutely, but I think it's going to take us to, I mean, the climate in this country, I would say, venture to say that it has changed somewhat, it's changing, but I don't think too many of the brothers is going to stand by and watch their daughters be snatched out 14, 13 years old and being punched, pounded to the ground by a man with a badge, or watch their wives and their daughters pulled out of the car by their hair. That's not going to continue to happen too much. So we are working to change the climate, and we're also working with bills put into the government to change some of the actions of the police officers. Because when you think about it and you look at all our young boys, I've had so many young boys that I'm involved with that's been laying up in the hospital, that's been shot, that's been doing time. So this initiative to me, it's like the world to me. It's something that I'm looking and I'm seeing that is real. It's a real deal, and I'm involved in it. This is why I am involved in it. So I'm just saying I'm about anybody that's doing something positive, especially helping our communities, because we're hurt the most. If you look at with the pandemic or whatever, we are taking the brunt of it. So anybody that can come in and say, let's be together, let's work together to get this thing done, I'm all about it.
Right. This is one word I have for this, the whole piece. It's WAR. That's what we're dealing with. And it's organizations like you that are a spiritual and practical military. We got to be Marines, Navy, special forces, the SEALs. Get in our mindset that we are defensively fighting a war, because the war is coming at us, as the brother is saying, from birth. It's like that image that you gave me. Again, one of the powers that I get from you in the last post is the imagery. And the imagery you gave me was a name on top of a cell. And I was thinking about, when my son was born, did his name get put on top of a cell? I mean, that's a heavy thought. And it's true so many times that our boys are born, girls now too. They're born to this world and the system says, okay, they're heading, we know where they're headed. We're gonna make sure you got a reservation right here in the prison. And we can continue to think that way and create images. Like your video, it's all about the images. A lot of people think visually. So, and great image behind you, Gary. Great image, we have it. We have everything we need. Again, let's keep doing, let's do it. I hope we can meet every day. You know, we don't have to wait once a week. We at a war. We're at war. Let's fight with everything we have.
You know what, Mr. Ed, thank you for bringing this up. Actually, the whole purpose of going on radio, going on internet, taking advantage of the social media is to have the awareness go, because people need to know that there is a movement. And like Clem just said, we are in the starting of the journey. And Miss Perry and Mr. Abiodun and Mr. Surajit, all of you are part of this journey, and we have to make this happen. We cannot wait for somebody else to do it.
That's
We
right.
can't wait for President Biden to do it. We can't wait for the governor, some governor to do it. No, we have to do it. And that's what I've been begging in this social media platform. The whole reason to come on the social media platform, the whole reason to bring all of you here is to make sure that this message goes to every young adults. Because like you said, why the name when you are born is not on the top of the cell, but that name is there in the prison. Why? Who is asking that question? Why?
Yeah,
Because
flip it around. Put the name on top of the White House for everybody who's born.
why not?
Yes,
Why not?
That's the vision. Flip
Exactly, that's the vision. Why
right?
not? We got to put that name there. Why not?
Well, there's
And
powers
today,
in words and there's powers in pictures. Hey guys,
and you're bringing up this, you're just instincting me to speak up to the social media that today again we are thinking that this community or this particular African American community and the brown and the purple, they're here for handouts. No, we are not here for handouts. We are absolutely not here for handouts. We want, yes, we are talking about equality, but what is equality? What do you have that we don't have? We don't want equality. We want supremacy. We want somewhere we can lead. We have the caliber, but we don't have that. Yes.
There was a judge in Harlem. I don't know how many of you are familiar with him, but he's no longer with us. His name was Cut 'em Loose Bruce. And he was a very good friend of mine. He happened to also be a poet. And we were very close. And Cut 'em Loose Bruce was despised by many of his colleagues who were white judges, of course. And the reason that and the name that he got, how he got the name Cut 'em Loose Bruce, was he would give the young youth, black youth, whether it was a girl or boy, he would give them the same verdict or the same punishment that, say, the white judges would give the white kids in, say, places like Great Neck, Long Island, or wherever the white communities are. So if a black kid would show up before him, and let's say he had just stolen a car, but it was his first offense, he didn't go to jail. He would get a lecture from Cut 'em Loose Bruce and say, now don't do that again, and go home. And he sent him home. They hated him because he was cutting the brothers loose. He was not throwing them in jail. The system was designed to incarcerate us. African Americans were brought here to pick cotton, to make America rich. They have not changed the program in 500 years. We need to understand that. The system that brought us to these shores in America is still in place today. That's why I said in the beginning, it's very apropos that we talk about this during Black History Month, because we are the history of the world. And there are a lot of people upset with that. If there would not be any history of Europeans or anybody else, if there were no African history, because Africa is where everything got started. And everybody needs to recognize that. If our children, for example, were to know that we've got sisters in the NASA space program who are literally putting rockets up into space and bringing them back down. We discovered this in a movie called Hidden Figures. That's embarrassing. It's a total insult. We have brilliance in our community, and that's not highlighted. They will highlight the negative things always. Will always show you the pathos. Will always show you the bad fruit. They will never show you the wonderful things. We need to have examples of good stuff, of the things that we're doing. There are people right now as we speak who are doing some good, wonderful things with some young people. Nobody talks about that. They're not getting any publicity, but that we don't have to recreate the wheel. The wheel is already rolling. We just got to go with the one that's rolling the right way. We got a lot of people even folks in the community who have built up fears against their own kind because they believe in the nonsense that the media says. We've got to change that way of thinking, but we need to make it quite clear. There are people who are concerned, Dr. Khanna, who are trying to do some initiatives. They might not call it a movement. They might just be a mentor to a couple of folks. I'm a mentor to a bunch of young people because they know where I live. My door is always open. I do it. I've been doing an open house in my house for the last 40 years. I get up, I make salmon croquettes. Now, of course, I'm not doing it now because of the pandemic, but I make food and I have folks come over. Quite a number of people come to my house. My mother says they're not coming for poetry or for a conversation. They come to eat your food. Whatever it causes them to come is fine with me. I don't care. The real deal is I want them to have an opportunity to express themselves, and I want them to know who they are. Much of what we do because we have lack of knowledge as to who we are. And if we could have a better understanding of that, and if we could know our history, the true history of who we are, we might change automatically.
Absolutely. This is so touching. I think the audience, those who are listening to this today, please take this seriously. This is the movement of 2021, which I keep on saying that we need to go to every town and village. We need to give the open door policy. This is an open house. This is an open house, 24/7 open house. Okay, and I do admire you the way you brought it up. Why Black History Month is celebrated only on 28 days out of 365 days?
Brother, and you know what? Well, first of all, it used to be just a week, so we should be happy it's a month.
Okay, so we made some progress, right? So we made some progress from 1 week to 28 days.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Okay, that's a good way to look. Maybe down the road we will be getting 366 days.
Let's do it.
Yes,
Let's do it.
It's just like we have this this festivication called Kwanzaa that happens every December, and I try to tell people there's some things that we do that should not be relegated to a particular time, because the principles of Kwanzaa should be practiced every day.
Exactly.
And Black history should be something that's practiced every day. Right. Everybody needs to know their history. I don't care where you're from. You need to understand who your people were, what contributions they made to humanity. And unfortunately, we have a lot of Black folks who don't feel their worth because they have not been taught that. I'm very interested to see what the Biden administration is going to do, because as I understand, Biden, the first lady is, I think her name is Jill. That's Biden's wife's name. And I understand she's supposed to be a super educator. Well, we're going to find out, because if she's a super educator, then she needs, and if she's a real true educator, then that means that she's got to check out the curriculum. The entire curriculum across the board, from the East Coast to the West Coast, needs to be thrown in the garbage. Because if you've got a bunch of kids, a bunch of Chicanos sitting up in school learning, see Puff, Chase, Spot, look at Dick and Jane, that's out of order. If you got a bunch of kids from Harlem and Brooklyn and Detroit learning that, see Puff, Chase, Spot, look at Dick and Jane, that's out of order. They are not Puff and Spot, they're not Dick and Jane. We need to see ourselves in the history, and we don't. And that's a problem. When you leave people out, you leave them no choice but to feel neglected. If I feel neglected, I might do and be anything, but I've got to make myself known, because nobody seems to care and nobody seems to know who I am. So there's a attention thing happening too. There's a lot of work. I'm very interested to see how Miss Jill Biden is going to address the educational problem, because that's when change takes place. It starts at the educational level, and I'm not talking about first grade. I'm talking about at preschool.
Well, let's see. I think she's been an educator even when she was the vice president's wife. So
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the jury is still out. You're not an educator until you really are showing folks how to improve their lives. Because a real educator is not an educator. We should call them facilitators. A real educator is a facilitator, someone who shows you how to raise yourself. because that's where it makes sense. If you can only move behind my instruction, you become my robot. But if you learn how to move after I've given you some examples and you can move on your own, then you can show somebody else how to move. We're talking about initiatives. This initiative would work, like when Perry asked a question about having some of the people that you already had, that you've had that been in touch with, and how they've moved and changed their lives. You got to understand, we love Malcolm X for one main reason. Malcolm X showed us the evolution of man. We love Martin Luther King as well, but Martin didn't make no evolution. Martin grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth. His mother was a teacher. His daddy was a preacher of Ebenezer Baptist Church. Martin he wasn't challenged. Malcolm was challenged. Malcolm saw his father's head get run over by a train in Omaha, Nebraska. Malcolm was poor. Malcolm wanted to be a lawyer, and the teacher told him, you know, niggas can't be lawyers. Malcolm went through hell. Then Malcolm became a street person, had another name called Detroit Red. He sold drugs. He was pimping. He did numbers. He did a whole bunch of stuff. But every time he got into one thing and he found himself, he discovered a certain part of himself, and then he changed and he became committed to whatever that self was that he discovered. So when he went to prison, he was Satan, and he changed again. And he started reading about Islam. And Elijah Muhammad found him to be a very educated person, because what did he read while he was in prison? The dictionary. I wouldn't say that everybody should read the dictionary, but that tells you how determined he was. This was an evolution, and that's what we want to see. Folks, and don't tell people they got to forget the past. The past is a part of who you were, that you evolve. You learn from your past. You can't forget your past. You don't erase the past. You learn from the past. That's how you grow. And if you forget the past, you may repeat the past and be stupid again. No, you remember and you step forward and you move out of it. I don't believe Malcolm ever forgot the things he went through before he became El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz. You grow with each turn. Life is a bunch of circles. We go around and around and around, but the idea is that we want to go in a spiral motion. You want to go around and you want to go up as you go around. You don't want to keep chasing your tail. We've got a lot of folks who are chasing their tails because they don't know how to move upward. And if we can be mentors for those folks, if we can try to show them, give them a helping hand, one of the greatest initiatives that we can do is I did a rites of passage for a school in Chicago some years ago. We had the 8th graders were looking forward to beating up the 6th graders, because that's the initiation that happens in those school systems. And the principal brought me there. She says, I want that to stop. I want to see the kids get beat up all the time. So what I did, I took all the big bad bullies, and what did I do with them? I made them mentors so that they wouldn't beat up those kids. They would protect those kids. Mrs. Peters told me that was the best year she ever had in her school.
That's genius. That's genius.
That's
a
genius. That's genius.
Solution.
But that's what we got to do. Otherwise, we're just talking a lot of malarkey. We're not
yes, but one of the things we're doing is that we're not looking at ourselves as the team that is going all over America and doing all those things. What we want to do is we want to look at each community and partner with the stalwarts of that community. Okay, so we as the core, yes, we want to relate to all these different cities, different groups in different cities, but we want it to be a grassroots driven from the locality. Yes. That they bring up their leadership to lead it in that space. The expert, let me define an expert. An expert is the person with the same level of knowledge, but whose distance from the problem, okay, gives the distance, 1 over the distance. So if 1 divided by the distance, if you are 10,000 miles from the problem, you are 1 over 10,000 of an expert. The person who is 100 years from the problem is 1 over 100 years. He's a better expert on that locality's problem. And that's what we want to do. We want to find experts in these localities. So exactly. In this broadcast, that's what we're looking for.
Exactly.
We want the expertise to come out.
Oh, I'm sorry, Clem. And Abiodun, we, as you saw in the presentation, we are targeting, we want to enter into your neighborhood. We want some help. We would like to have a home in Harlem. We would like to take post-incarcerated youth. We'd like to get them training. We'd like to help them. So, you know, if you can, if you want to, and Edward in DC, we're going to be there. We need help. If we need to get on board, find a property, right, Dr. Khanna?
There are programs that are already up and running in Harlem. There's one in particular I can think of. His name of is Friends of the Island Academy. And this is an organization designed to help the young people who are incarcerated at Rikers Island. And they go in and they do workshops in creative writing and other areas of interest. So that, and then they help the folks get out, find a place to live, and find a job. And this has been going for some time. And those kinds of programs I can direct you to the person that's in charge. But we need to be working with those programs that are already established, because your program, Dr. Khanna, is not the only one that is concerned about the youth in prison. There are a number of folks who have that same concern, and some programs are getting funded by different funding agencies. And this, the Island Academy, or the Friends of the Island, is one of those programs. And I've worked for many years. Matter of fact, my ID card has expired. I got to re-up my ID so I can get back onto the island if I decide to go. But it was grueling. It was really hard for me to deal with, because I was working with the young women. And to see a woman incarcerated is for me, it's very painful to see my sisters walking around wearing those khaki outfits and just locked up. It's a painful thing to see. And I would
well, we've gone a little bit over. And I apologize for cutting you off. You were fantastic. We have to have you back, but we want to work with you, Abiodun. We want to work with you, Perry. I know you're off screen, but we appreciate your help. We appreciate your passion. I think Edward's in agreement. Sharon, who was she was on the phone, but you couldn't see her. She's in agreement. Clem's in agreement, and of course, this is Dr. Khanna's. This is his initiative. So we're on every Friday. Willie's on every Tuesday night and Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday. But we have a segment on that show, and we'd love to hear more. We need to move forward on this. Like Clem said,
if we can find new sponsors, we would want to be on this radio show every day during the month of February. If we can find a sponsorship for this radio show.
Good point.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, everyone, those who are listening, and thank you, Mr. Abiodun. Thank you, Mr. Sargent.
Yes, sir.
Joining us today. And Mr. Abiodun, you just said one thing. We are not. I know that this is not the only initiative that is, but we want to partner with everybody, because when you are doing a movement, you have more and more, so that we can march. You say, like Mr. Sargent said, WAR. So and this is. We cannot have only one person. It cannot be just 5 of us here or 6 of us here can change this world. But we need to collaborate with many others, and we want to accelerate and move forward. So thank you again for this wonderful opportunity. And I feel that I'm blessed by having you here, and at least the children and the young adults, those who are listening to this today, this is the man from humanity. This is the man who advocates humanity. This is not about color. This is not about race. This is not about anything. It is about humanity. And my thing, which I've been telling since morning in my show, that we are here to find human beings. Find human beings. Mark my word, find. It's not just a human being, because most of us today, the human beings we are behaving like cats and dogs. Okay, we are chasing, like Mr. Abiodun said, we are chasing our own tails. That's not what we need to do. Life is a circle. When you move around, you move up, move up, move up, move up. Okay, and that's the way we need to, and those are called fine human beings. But everybody can be a fine human being if we give them an opportunity, if we give them all the platform they need. This is the platform we are creating. This is a platform. This is not a competition against somebody else's initiative. No, this is a platform where everybody can come. This is exactly how Mr. Abiodun wrote his poetry. When the video which we saw, it is a platform he gave to everybody. All he's doing is opening the door so that everybody's ear can hear this. We should not be deaf anymore. We should take off the ear pod and we should hear this type of messages. And I'm so glad that we have him, the poetry person, and we have the journalist, and the pain, the power of pain. When I was growing up, I was told the best weapon or the most powerful weapon somebody can have is not the nuclear weapon, is the pen. The pen is, even the poetry is written through the pen. So that pen, that ink, which is in the pen, I want all of us to be writing and following the message so that everybody can understand this. And again, thank you very much. I know we are over, but this is the first time in this show we went over, only because we are talking and recognizing human beings, not animals. Human beings, nothing against animals. We need to treat them, but we are here human beings.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you all.
Thank you and good night.
And thank you, Brother
Thank
Sergeant.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
All right, take care.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
God bless you
Perry,
all.
Perry
Thank
will
you,
be in
my
touch.
sister, my beautiful sister.
Perry will be in
Thank you
touch.
so much. Okay.